right, you guys. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Sarasota is very special to us. We actually lived here, that's my husband Sam over there, and we lived here for 10 years. Global Expeditions Group is actually based here in Sarasota, just down the road, and so it's a very special place that's near and dear to us. This is Sadie and Josie, the island girls who, and Sadie actually would like to share a story where you'll see on the back of the book, inspired by a true story. So she's going to tell you a little bit about that story really quickly. It's one of the many stories that inspired this book, but I will give the mic over to her.
We were in the Dominican Republic, and we were snorkeling, and we saw a turtle fishing over to a plastic bag, and so we came and we grabbed the bag, and then we went out more, and we came out with about like 10 bags.
Okay. Josie, do you want to say anything? No? Okay. Well, there's a picture in the back of the book of that trip where you'll see Sadie and Josie on that trip right here in the Dominican Republic, holding those plastic bags that we retrieved. So we were on spring break in the Dominican Republic, and we were snorkeling with the turtles, and they were watching and started screaming. I, of course, was wondering what was wrong and looked over and saw the turtle swimming towards a plastic bag, and it looks just like a jellyfish underwater. So after that, I was very empowered. I had seen this issue before as a scuba diving instructor, before we had children, and then when we saw it again with the girls, they looked up at me and were like, what are we gonna do about this problem? And so I had wanted to write a book for a while. I didn't know what kind of a book, and my husband that Christmas told me, if you don't do something about writing the books, you can't talk about it anymore. So the perfect thing that a loving husband would do is to light some fire under you to get you going. So yeah, in the pandemic in 2020, Global Expeditions Group shut down, and we were furloughed, so we had a lot of time, and so that's when I started writing. This is the very first manuscript I ever wrote in a class, and so it's something that is very near and dear to us. The problem with plastics has been a big issue that we've seen all over the world, and so really with every book purchased, it does hopefully inspire change for the kids to get involved and use their voices to make a change and spread awareness about what's happening in our oceans. So one thing about the illustrator, Svetlana Holovchenko, she's from Ukraine and living in Germany, but she hand painted every single picture. It's all watercolor in the book. And I did give her a lot of inspiration for, the book is set in the British Virgin Islands. Jo Megan just walked in. She's the wife of the CEO. She's our CFO for Global Expeditions Group, so she's very familiar with a lot of these settings. It is in the British Virgin Islands. And for Christmas, she's such a wonderful person, she actually sent me the originals of every single spread that she painted for the book, which was really a huge surprise and really special. So without further ado, would you guys like for me to read it? Yeah, okay. You want to sit down? Sit down. Sadie and Josie live on a sailboat. They love all the adventures that come with life at sea. Dad, Josie, we're back from the store, Sadie shouted. Fig surfaced. Hey, Fig, what are you eating? Sadie asked. Slurp. A slimy jellyfish, my favorite, Fig replied. Enjoy your meal, Josie said. That night, Sadie and Josie snuggled together. Whoosh, clink, clink. The wind howled through the halyards. The next day they heard a noise. Tap, tap, thud. They spotted Fig. Holy anchovies! There's trouble in Jellyfish Alley, Fig cried. Josie, get Mom and Dad, Sadie yelled. Vroom, the engine roared. Splash, they swam to Jellyfish Alley. The wild wind made a mess, Fig said. Click, click. Josie took pictures. These are our grocery bags, Sadie groaned. They look just like jellyfish. They look delicious, Fig replied. Oh no, that turtle is stuck, Sadie said. He wiggled, he twisted, he kicked, but he couldn't break free until snip, snip. No, that's not a jellyfish either. Sadie snatched the fag before he could take a bite. Over here, this is your food, Josie said. This is bad. We can't leave this behind, Sadie said. They got to work. It's all clean now. What else can we do? Sadie asked. Oh, I know. We can make signs, Josie suggested. Jeremy can help. Hi, Jeremy. Did you know the turtles are eating plastic bags? Sadie asked. Not again, Jeremy sighed. Can you help us make signs? Josie asked. Of course, he said. They cut, they colored, they taped until bam, bam, bang, they hung the signs. Free the sea of plastic. Let's tell everyone, Josie said. Great idea, sis, Sadie cheered. I'll write the letters. Thanks for your help, Fig said. You are totally awesome. Well done, Island Girls. So in the back of the book, Sadie and Josie wrote a note to all the kids of the world. Sadie, do you want to stand up and read it for us?
Dear kids of the world, thank you for helping us keep Fig, Zuby, and our under-the-sea friends safe. Even if you don't live near the ocean, you can still make a big difference in their life. Love, Sadie and Josie.
So in the back of the book, there are different ways to get involved and kids for you guys to use your voices. Writing letters to your state senators is a really fun way to start. You can draw a picture of how similar plastic bags and jellyfish look underwater on one side of your postcard, and on the other, you can write a letter as to why we should stop using single-use plastic bags. Another thing is to keep your parents truthful and honest. At the grocery stores, take your reusable bags instead of using plastic bags a lot. Because even if you don't live near the ocean, the winds can really pick up a lot of the lighter plastic and blow them into the sea. So you guys can really, create a lot of different ideas and come up with anything creative. We decided to write a book about it, but you guys might choose to do something else. And no idea is too crazy because our ocean and our under the sea friends really need our help. So, does anybody have any questions?
What are you working on now?
Ooh, great question. I have about 12 to 14 manuscripts that I've written. A lot of them are on submission with other publishers, traditional publishers. The Island Girls is going to be a series. The next one is written, and I actually entered it into a big contest last Wednesday, but it's on coral bleaching. So big hot topic on climate change. And what's happening with our reefs underwater when the oceans get too warm. So that's a big one. Robert Guggenheim of The Ocean Doctor has agreed to write the foreword for that book. This one I partnered with Plastic Ocean Project. There's a wonderful foreword in the book about how important it is to get kids reading stories like this just to show that they can help make a change too. So Sadie and Josie will appear in the next one of Discover Coral Bleaching. And now that we're here for spring break and there's a big issue with red tide, we will probably write another manuscript about red tide. So kind of keeping it with the environmental conservation and spreading awareness about what's happening in our oceans. Yeah. Yes?
Do you like writing books?
I love writing books, yes. I have found it to be very fun. I get up really, really early in the morning and try and have some time to myself before the girls wake up. But a lot of times they wake up too and come and join me and, Mommy, what are you working on? And I'll tell them, they get their books out too and they love writing too. But no idea is too crazy. I get a lot of inspiration from them and playing with them, and I love playing in my imagination. It's a really fun thing to do. And I write and rewrite and come up with ideas all the time. Do you like to write? Yeah? Cool. Yes?
Who are your inspirations on the environmental conservation side and on the writing side?
Okay, so on the environmental conservation side, I've been really inspired by the Plastic Ocean Project. Bonnie Montalone has been fascinating and just so amazing to work with. A lot of their efforts are off the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina, where I grew up. And so I've been able to kind of be frontline with them a lot. I've met with them a couple times in Wilmington, and they've just been so empowering and inspiring for me because they love working with the creative people who can spread the message to the general public. They're like the more scientific minded and the more like creative, the storytellers are who they really lean on to spread their messages. So they've really loved what I'm doing, and they sponsored me at a conference last weekend in Hilton Head, South Carolina, which was great. They're just doing wonderful things. So on the conservation side, I'd say them. On the writing side, there have been two people. Rosie Pova, she was my mentor, and she's out of Dallas, Texas. She was the very first one that I worked with writing this manuscript. And then the other has been writing workshops of Dallas as a whole. There's Blake Kimsey, Mark Gottlieb, Ying Kompenstein. I just went to Hawaii writing with them, and they just have been very resourceful, and the publishing industry is like a whole nother animal that I didn't know anything about before I started writing. And so they've really been helping me figure out what I want to do traditionally publishing and how I would like to maybe keep this on the self-published side. This manuscript had multiple different traditional offers on it, and if you go to my blog and my website and see, you can kind of scroll back into last June and see the traditional publisher wanted to use clip art for the illustrations for this book, and so that was not at all what I was envisioning for this. Sadie, you want to tell them what I said when we saw those illustrations?
She thought she was gonna throw up.
That was pretty deep.
Yes, so it was not at all the vision, so I got the reversion of rights pretty immediately and took it on my own, and it's been incredibly successful so far, and hopefully, you know, with each book purchase, really, it's gonna hopefully inspire the younger generation to start making a change. Yes?
How many book readings you already had, and where, and how many you will have?
Sure, great question. So starting last summer, before I even published the book, it was still in the illustration process. I read and hosted 2 different reading camps in Richmond, Virginia, actually where the girls go to school. And so I did that, and I've had probably like 5 to 7 different bigger signings where I've read the book. I just spoke at the Palmetto State Literacy Conference. There were over 1,000 educators there, and that was last weekend. A lot of people have reached out for book readings and signings virtual author visits, Zoom visits. I've done 3 interviews for students already who have kind of been looking for someone who has experience with coral reefs or just in the ocean with plastics. Anywhere from first graders to 6th graders have asked me. I did a classroom visit with middle schoolers who were using this as a mentor text on how, if you are inspired by an idea or you see a problem, how you can implement it into creative writing and then make a story out of it. And then in the future, I have, I think, like 7 more author visits already booked. I'm completely booked for Earth Day, World Oceans Day, things like that. But my priority is spending time with the kids, though, at home. And so if we can build it into the schedule where I can go fly somewhere for a bigger event, I will. But most of them are going to be virtual or in Richmond and surrounding areas. Yes. Sure.
How many books have you written?
I have written probably 14 to 15 manuscripts. Anything from a board book about beach senses, like the 5 senses that you'll feel and see at the beach for very, very young kids, to a middle grade novel. It's called Moon Beach Rising, and that's what I went to Hawaii to work on with Writers Workshop of Dallas, and everything in between. Does anybody have any more questions? Sure, my social media handles, I'm the Island Writer on Twitter, the Island Writer 8 on Instagram. Yes. And my website is theislandwriter.com. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, thank you. So we'll just hang out up here in the loft, and if anybody would like, I'm happy to sign your books over there at the table.